increasing or decreasing functions. In Core 1 you came across differentiation and you looked at differentiating a function to discover its tangent at a certain point. Now what we want to be able to decide is whether a function that we are given is in fact an increasing or a decreasing function in certain ranges or for all real values. So what do we mean by an increasing or decreasing functions? Well, an increasing function is where if we had a quadratic, for example, here's a quadratic. Where do you imagine is the increasing function? Well, it's this part here where it starts to increase, and if we're to find the gradient at any point on this from this section here, we'd find that the gradient is a positive value. The decreasing function is where you end up with a negative gradient when you substitute values in to your dy by dx, and you end up with a negative gradient. So the increasing function is where you get a positive gradient, and your decreasing is where you get a negative gradient. Now we're asked to show that the function fx is equal to x cubed plus 24x plus 3 for x for all real values is an increasing function. Now this bit here may well be a new terminology for you. The symbol here means for all or for, and this R here, this funny looking R, means real values. So any value, any solution that is real, it should work for any real value. The x should work, and it should be an increasing function. So we've got a function for x. Now remember, to find the gradient at a point, so to find the gradient of a tangent at a point on a quadratic or on a cubic graph or any kind of curve, you need to differentiate your function. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our f of x, which is fx equals x cubed plus 24x plus 3, and we're going to differentiate that with respect to x. So f dash x, remember to differentiate, you multiply by the power and then take one off the existing power. So 3x squared plus 24. Now if it's an increasing function, remember that means that all the gradients that we're going to get would be a positive solution. So if we were to think about this, we're looking for 3x squared plus 24 to always be greater than 0. Well, if we think about it, what we're doing is we are squaring our value of x. Now we should know that any number squared gives you a positive value, so minus 3 squared is equal to 9, 3 squared is equal to 9. So no matter what value we put in for x, this will always be a positive value. So f of x must be an increasing function. Let's have a look at another example. So, find the values of x for which the function fx equals a third x cubed plus 2x squared minus 8x is a decreasing function. So this time, because it's a cubic graph, it's going to look something like this. We're looking for where we have a decreasing function. So we're looking for where the gradient of a tangent is negative. So it would be this section here. And to do that, we do exactly the same steps as before. We're going to take our function and we're going to have to differentiate it, because to find the gradient of a tangent we have to differentiate our original function. So our original function is fx equals a third x cubed plus 2x squared minus 8x. If we are to differentiate this, we're going to get the following. Well, a third times 3 is 1, so x squared plus 4x minus 8. Now we're asked to find where it's a decreasing function, so this time, instead of setting our f dash x to greater than 0, we're looking for less than 0. So we're going to set f squared plus 4x minus 8 to less than 0, because we're looking for a decreasing function. So to solve this, we're going to have to factorise this if we can. Now, unfortunately this does not factorise, so if it doesn't factorise, we're going to have to use our old friend, the quadratic formula, which you should know off by heart as minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a. And we know that our value of b is 4, so it'll be minus 4 plus or minus 4 squared, 4 times 1 times y minus 8, all divided by 2 lots of a. Well, 2 lots of 1 is 2. And if we're to sort out the bit in the square root, we end up with the following: plus or minus the square root of 48, because 4 squared is 16, minus 4 times minus 8 is going to give us a positive 32, add that on, and we end up with 48 divided by 2. So our two solutions for x are 1.46 and minus 5.46. So the range in which we get a negative value is going to be, a negative function is going to be in the range from minus 5.46 up to 1.46, which if we look at our graph, that is what we'd expect, because we're going to expect a minus 5.46 up to 1.46, because that is the direction that a positive cubic graph goes, a negative one is the other way around. So our range of values for where x is a decreasing function is between minus 4.6 x up less than and 1.46. So to find out whether a function is increasing or decreasing, you first need to differentiate your given function.